Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one! Another one! Another one!
Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Works out by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hey, happy Wednesday. It's hump day. We made it halfway through the week. How are you guys doing? Appreciate you joining us as always. Another great lineup today. Derrick Jackson's going to be joining me, as he has been, co-hosting a little bit. Let's see. Scratch the itch with Bob Kravitz and Rick Bozich. Talk some baseball and, of course, all kinds of sports with those guys. But Rick's team is out. Now we're in the World Series. So watched a little of that last night. Guys hitting up the text line earlier. Thank you very much, Michael. The Music Man. Jesse. Pete is too cold for Pete up in Minnesota. He finally had to come down to Frankfort, Indiana, home of the hot dogs, right? You know, Frankfort, where Pete went to high school, that's where they filmed Blue Chips. That was what do they call that? Western University or something. But yeah, that's where that was filmed there at Frankfort. Hope everyone's having a great day and a good start. I watched the World Series last night until I fell asleep. It started off with a bang. There were like 3 records set last night. First of all, the leadoff I think it was they were on the road. So Houston or Atlanta's leadoff hitter hit a home run. That's the first time in World Series history that the leadoff hitter hit a home run in game 1. Pretty cool. Then Atlanta scored in like the first 3 innings, I think. It was the first time in World Series history that a team has scored in the first 3 innings of game 1. But it was definitely not without action right from the start. So that means that could be a fun series to watch. I still don't know who actually ended up winning the game. Got to pull the scores up here because I fell asleep.
Braves won 6-2.
No, I was going to say I was still awake when they won. Yeah.
Oh.
They could. It was still, but the amazing thing to me it was still, baseball is hard to make it exciting, but that game was still exciting even with that lead. You're like, oh, you're waiting for something to happen, and of course that's what the playoffs are about, when the cream rises to the top. And I said the other day, I don't have a rooting interest in this because I don't. Neither one of those. I've changed my mind though. Braves, because the Houston cheated. They still got have some of those guys on that team. Altuve, who was one of the biggest ones. Remember, I think he had something on his chest, a device, but he's still with them. Sam checking in. Hope everyone's doing well. And I know, most of you guys that do not get to listen to us live, please send your comments in. We, even though it's after the fact, we appreciate it, and I'll respond to them. I try to respond to everything. And give me a follow if you wouldn't mind on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. Please do that now. We appreciate it. And if you're not following the show on YouTube, go ahead and hit that. It's free subscription, and hit the notification so we can get you everything that's coming up, because basketball season's about to hit, and we will be producing all kinds of stuff. So you don't want to miss out on that. David Cattell joining in, man. I don't want to hear it. He's down in Jacksonville, 57. Ooh, that's a little nippy down there in Jacksonville, isn't it? It'll be warming up though. He's getting a 77 today. A little off the beaten path. Down in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott signed a bill on Monday that prohibits students in public schools from competing in sports that do not align with their gender listed at birth. The bill was passed by the state's Republican-led legislature early in October and sent to Abbott's desk for signature. Nothing to do with Indiana sports yet, but that will probably come here. And to me, that's an easy decision. I mean, are you kidding me? Just because someone thinks that they're a different gender or they want to go through life that way, that's cool. That's that deal. But no, you can't compete against the opposite sex as that sex because you're not. Because there are physical differences. That has nothing to do with intelligence or anything like that. It's just physical, and that's just nature. There's been times where we've seen that happen with competitors, and I'm like, that's not even fair. So I don't know what your thoughts are, but there you go. That's my thoughts on that. Five Lefts jumps in. How you doing, brother? Appreciate you. Man, all you guys that are in Florida, you're killing me. Even my friend Glenn. Oh, your streak's over, brother. I forgot about that. We got a lot of Sudbirds. Love you, Florida guys. Yeah. So, John, did you watch the World Series at all?
I didn't, but I have a quick story that pertains to the World Series for you.
All right.
Have you heard of a guy? Have you ever heard of a guy named Mattress Mac?
This sounds like a joke. There's a guy. He walks into a bar.
I guess it's kind of being set up that way, but it's not really a joke. But there's this guy named Mattress Mac. And I want to start off with this. I guess it kind of is a joke, but if your name's Mattress Mac, you could really only be in two professions. You either sell mattresses or you work in the adult film industry.
Bam.
So that's interesting. But this guy, Mattress Mac, I believe he's either a Houston Astros fan, but either way, he is supporting them right now because he bet on them back in June. And because of this, he has created this to win the World Series, by the way. And he's created this marketing thing for his mattress store. And let me go ahead and just read this tweet from him the other day, or from yesterday. I read this to Dustin during the podcast. Today is the last day of the Astros Win It All, Get It All 2021 promotion at GF. Bring your pickup truck for easy, fast pickup or enjoy free delivery when you purchase your mattress $3,000 or more. And if the Astros win it all, your mattress purchase is free. So this guy is gambling. He made a bet back in June. And if he wins his gamble from saying the Houston Astros will win the World Series, then he can help pay for these mattresses that he's telling these people. But if the Astros don't win, then these customers who are spending $3,000 are kind of gambling in a sense that they
there's no sense. There's no sense. Well, I mean, if they needed a mattress and they had it anyway, I guess it's not much of a gamble. It's a little luck. But
yeah, and that's true. It's almost like an investment and potentially getting your money back on it if this guy ends up winning his bet.
Well, that's going to be interesting. That's
and Sam Joaquin seems to know who this guy is, actually.
He's a huge Houston icon because he will save you money. He grew up in Houston in the 70s, and he was huge back then. Was that his slogan? He will save you money. I bet you could find an old commercial of his. That would be hilarious. Hey, Donald, joining us. How you doing, brother? Oh, he's a Braves fan. See, like I said, I didn't have a vested interest in this World Series.
I was really hoping the Red Sox
but now I
would be in it, so Kyle Schwarber could be rooted for.
That would absolutely. We would have had something to follow, to look at. And how about this? Daggone, Houston's park, man! It's hard to hit a home run in that park, except for who was the one dude? He hit one on like a rocket that went out in about 10 seconds. But there were a couple. There were like 3 that would have been a home run in any other ballpark.
They play in an indoor ballpark, right? Or something with a retractable roof. Is that what I'm looking at?
I don't know if it's retractable or not, but yes, it's definitely inside.
Yeah, they've got some tough dimensions, it looks like.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I mean, some of those balls were flying and not going anywhere. Friday, Alec Lasley will be back with us to update the recruiting, see where we are. And we are planning on having a special guest coming up as well, probably tomorrow. Is that right? I think.
Your special guest?
Yeah. We'll have it for
so.
tomorrow.
It depends on which one you're talking about, but we have a couple.
Oh, we do? Oh, that's who's well.
One of them is Friday. We already talked about.
Oh, well, see, I already forget. That didn't have to be a secret, does it?
It doesn't. I mean, I thought you were making it a secret. It doesn't have to be. I'm leaving it up to you.
Well, I'm not sure which one Friday is now. You're confusing me.
Well, the one that we recorded on Sunday is playing on Friday.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
So that is a secret.
Then we have a special guest tomorrow. We got all kinds of special guests. No, Friday we'll have JQ.
We may have two on Friday. I'm totally lost right now.
Jaquan or Jaqueline on Friday from Bloomington North. Just received an offer from Indiana. Man, how about some football this weekend? Michigan at Michigan State. I can't wait till tomorrow to talk to Shooty about this. There's some Big Ten games this weekend, man. Michigan State. That is on Saturday at noon. Now this drives me nuts. At the same time, wow, number 6 Michigan against number 8 Michigan State. When was the last time those two teams were both in the top 10? That's been a minute.
I wonder when the last time they played each other when they were undefeated was, because they're both 7-0.
Iowa travels to Wisconsin. Now, that's going to be – Iowa was brought down to earth by Purdue. And when we were there, they didn't have an offense, but they had a decent defense that didn't show up against Purdue. But that's going to be an interesting game. Wisconsin,
I believe you have the team with the best turnover margin going against the team with the worst turnover margin in Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin is 2-2 right now in the Big Ten, 4-3 overall. If they beat Iowa, that puts them at 3-2, and it puts Iowa at 3-2. So they would be tied at the top. Iowa should have been running away with that Western Division.
Absolutely. But, yeah, the Big Ten West is a mess again, as it always is. And I don't think we should be surprised, even though we are.
Texas Tech, Oklahoma. I can't wait to look at some of these games. We got to take a break. Great schedule, as I said. Derrick Brooks is joining us. Bob Kravitz, Rick Bozich. We got a lot. We'll be back with it. Brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, located in Bloomington at the corner of Patterson and Rogers. If you're out looking for to get out of the kitchen or just relaxing night, they got a patio. Of course, it's getting a little chillier, but a great indoor seating. Make sure you stop in. Excellent food. The service is impeccable. Bartending service, amazing. And it is fresh as it can be and good. Make sure you give them a stop. Southern Stone Restaurant. Also, the IU men's and women's or IU men's basketball coaches show and football coaches shows are there as well. So give them a stop at Southern Stone Restaurant. We're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration or
man, I feel like I didn't do a good job at explaining that Mattress Mac. I did a way better job last night when I was telling to Dustin. So I apologize if that didn't come across very clearly.
I mean, I understood. He's selling mattresses to people, and he's given if Houston wins, he gives the mattress to them. They don't have to pay for it because he made a bet to cover it.
Yeah. I feel like I had to say it 2 or 3 times, though, whenever I was talking about it before I made it clear. Either way, it's all right. We move past it.
It's probably not the worst thing people are going to have to deal with today.
It's not, but I just like to be able to contribute.
Look at him. He's switching it up, man. Mariners. They gone, brother. The truth. I got to throw that up in a minute. It's time for B. He's a hoops man.
Hey, I'm ready for basketball too. Football's almost, if it wasn't miserable enough already, it's about to be. Maybe Derrick Jackson can shed some light on the positivity with that when he comes in.
Of what?
I don't know. He seems to always find a positive outlook for football. I mean, I know there's not much left.
Dude, when he comes on, it's like open. He's going to stick that needle in your vein and give it to you. It's kind of like Tom Allen.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's great. I love the energy.
Yeah, so he'll be joining us in the middle of this segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cooler in Indiana than Shakopee, Minnesota.
Yeah, well. Stick around, Peter. Stick around.
Stick around.
Mr. Clausen, are you coming to Bloomington? Time for Isaiah. Which Isaiah?
That could be Spud Washington's actual name because his email it didn't have the name Isaiah, but it had the letter I in it. So I was thinking that could be his name. So he could be referring to that. He might not be, though. That's just where my head went.
Your head goes.
Where does my head go, Jim?
Many weird and wacky places.
Oh, yeah. All right, here we go.
You can also catch Indiana Sports Beat Radio there each day at your convenience, or you can find it any place with podcasts or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by AAA Insurance. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Hump Day. I hope you guys are having a good week so far. No reason not to, right? It's at least it looks pretty out there. There are no rain clouds, so should be a nice day. Looking forward to Derrick Brooks joining us here in a little bit. Watched the World Series last night before I fell asleep. We didn't get a chance to talk about, and Kevin brought it up, and I just forgot to talk about Peyton and Eli. That has to be a regular Tuesday segment from now on. There's DB. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, Jim? How you doing, baby?
Been waiting for you because I'm like, I can't wait for DB gets on because he brings the energy, man. I'll be jacking it up. No, we're just sitting here talking about yesterday. I forgot to talk about Peyton and Eli. I don't know. Have you seen on Monday Night Football? They've got a separate channel that just has Peyton and Eli commentating the game. Have you seen it?
I have not had an opportunity to check that out, Jim. I heard about it.
It's freaking hilarious, Derrick.
Okay.
It's oh my God. All they're doing, they're sitting there making fun of each other. They have guests come in, like they had Tom Brady this week. They had Drew Brees.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen, I have never seen Tom Brady laugh as hard as he did at something that Peyton said. He had him gut busting. And then Eli's always cracking on Peyton's head being a big head and forehead. And he said, that's not a forehead, that's a 5 head. But but they had Marshawn Lynch on this week, and it didn't go quite as planned. And Peyton had to see, once Marshawn Lynch finished his segment on the Manning Cast Friday night, Peyton Manning promptly apologized for Lynch's prolific cursing, including an F-bomb that he dropped. I don't understand why they don't have I guess no, you could sync it with the game. There's got to be a 7-second delay, man.
Right.
I guess it's either that or they choose to not have the delay to make it live. But if you don't have that conversation with him beforehand, which they probably didn't, really, That's like picking up a snake and getting bit and then complaining that the snake bit you. Man, you can't do that.
Well, beast mode traditionally has really never had any filter about, when he has opinions on things.
Exactly.
So you've got to, sometimes you have to, correlate with people and, collaborate and let them know that there's such a thing as studio etiquette. And we're going to have some things that are going to be on the air, and people are going to see some things, and you're going to hear some things that you might not want them to hear. So some of those things have to be censored.
Well, here's something funny. ESPN editor Tory Barron, on the other hand, posted an article on ESPN.com early Tuesday morning praising Lynch's appearance, writing, "Marshawn Lynch is not the hero we deserve, but he's the one we need." And then it says, while the F word is considered among the crudest of cuss words by some, I'll be honest with you, I use it as an adjective, a noun, all kinds of stuff. But while it is allowed to be used on ESPN without penalty from the FCC. The FCC has no jurisdiction over basic cable content, only broadcast television and radio. Bingo.
Yes.
But it didn't sit well. It said still Lynch's word did not sit well with Manning. Right. I want to thank Marshawn. Here's what he said. I want to thank Marshawn Lynch. Not as wild about the language, Manning said in his apology. I want to apologize for some of the language. It's not what we're trying to do on this show. So he kind of wasn't happy with that. Marshawn kind of did that. It sounds like, which I understand. I mean, it's cussing's an everyday. Cussing's funny, actually, because I'm bad about it. Not on the air, but I'm bad about it. But it's not in a mean way. It's just a part of the language that sometimes you grew up with, whether it's through sports or whatever. And then there are people that truly just get offended by that. So there's that, though.
I mean, for me, that's something that I've tried to, that I have actually cut out of my language, my daily language. Again, I'm not here to judge anybody, for how they talk, but I do know that, when I'm on the air, when I'm on live stream such as I am now, I want to make sure that I leave the impression that I'm a household individual and that, I really censor the things that I say. And again, back in the day when I'm, on the football field, you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, that's a different story, but here, in this day and time, there's just, for me, it's just it's studio etiquette, what you do outside in your private life. I mean, that's fine. But my kids, when they were coming up, I tried to make sure that I didn't use that type of language in front of them, because there are a lot of things that we, as an African-American community, we have grown up with, but that don't mean we continue to grow with it. We change and we do things differently, just as a people in general. That's what I'm saying.
I agree, man. There's certainly a time and a place for it, no doubt. But that was funny. But now after that, you need to check that broadcast out. It's
I'll check it out, right?
Because you've got Peyton Manning he is a unique individual. We all know he can be pretty funny through all the commercials that he does. But the great thing on here is he carry on generally, like we'll have a guest on, like let's say they had Tom Brady on. Mm-hmm. And he's got one eye on the game and one eye dealing with Brady, and he's doing it just like he's sitting there juggling, but that's a quarterback. That's what they do going through. Right. But he cracks me up. He never loses focus on the game, but he's in yet a conversation about something 2 plays ago with Tom Brady or whoever it is at the time. Just hilarious. And the minute I think that Eli doesn't really bring a lot to it, he drops a little something in there, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's the side man. He just killed that. But yeah, it's pretty funny, man. It's worth checking out. It's a lot more entertaining. I mean, I'm gonna wait. I wonder if their ratings will surpass that of the regular broadcast with the regular play-by-play and analyst guy.
Well, when you're talking about Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, 2 of the greatest to ever play the game, just to hear, what they have to say, just to see what type of flavor that they bring to Monday Night Football. And then you got, you're going to have that, that those percentage of Americans that, going to like, they want the clean cut, funny image that Peyton Manning and that Eli Manning brings to the table. And to have Eli Manning to chime in and just, have a quip or two, every now and then, I mean, it's great. So it very well could, this guy's a Hall of Famer, so it very well could surpass some of those other ratings, man.
I agree. The NFL Combine long in Indianapolis, Derrick. Did you ever participate in that?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't have that opportunity. I was not that good.
Hey, man, that's not saying anything bad, because let me tell you, that's just the elite of the elite, and
that is the elite of the elite, man.
And you can be one tick off of the elite, and that's it's the margin. Is unbelievable. I don't think people understand the sliver of margin. But Dallas and Los Angeles will be competing with Indianapolis for the 2023 NFL Combine, according to the Indianapolis Star.
Right.
They will have competition. I can see them moving it around, but it's a great central location in Indianapolis. Indianapolis just hosts everything so well. And I guess I'm being selfish. But both those cities will bid with the NFL. They're trying to make the athlete experience better. It's a combine, man. Why you got to make the experience better? It's a combine. They're coming to try out for jobs. And I'm not trying to say otherwise, but I'm like, are we getting that soft that tryouts, you got to make a tryout more comfortable? Man, it should be made harder. Who wants it more? Don't make it easy. If you make it easy, everybody can do it, right, DB?
Wait, this is a market-driven society. And I think that, Dallas, if there's Dallas and Los Angeles competing, I really think Dallas is going to win that battle, in my opinion. I mean, I lived in Dallas for a long period of time, and I mean, you've got some household names, that's going to draw attention in the Dallas area. So, even as big as Los Angeles is, I just really think Dallas will supersede and win that battle for the 2023 Combine. Yeah,
I could see them rotating that. It would be not a bad rotation. Indianapolis, Dallas, Los Angeles, but the Los Angeles one is just you're on a coast. Dallas is still center of the country. So I think they'd be better off with one, somewhere else north of there. I don't know, Denver or Kansas City.
Well, you got to rotate it. I mean, they're not just thinking about the combine. I think they're thinking about the attractiveness of the area and how it would benefit the market as a whole. I mean, even though the combines are usually closed and exclusive only to the NFL and to some high-profile college coaches, I think that it's still Dallas is going to win. In my opinion, Dallas is going to win that battle if there's a deliberation. If there's deliberations between Los Angeles and Dallas.
Well, the league, in concert with the Combine Executive Committee, is considering ways to grow the Combine as a tent pole event, while at the same time enhancing the prospective experience of partnership. That sounds like does that sound like they're trying to add fans?
Yeah, they're trying to add the fan base, partnerships, sponsorship. Now the workforce in general, whether it be in sports or private sector or public sector, is becoming more privately involved, with citizens, everyday ordinary people that would probably, Jim, would be willing to pay a hefty price to come and sit and watch the combine.
Well, I think right now they get in for free.
Okay.
But by shifting the on-field drills to prime time, it's easier for fans to watch on the NFL Network and across various NFL digital platforms, as well as to attend for free at Lucas Oil Stadium. That was a quote from Peter O'Reilly. He's the NFL's executive vice president on events. See, many who attend the Combine praise Indianapolis for its downtown, a compact, interconnected web that is perfectly built for the Combine's needs. The proximity of IU Health, Lucas Oil Stadium, the convention center, and hotels make any part of the Combine walkable in 15 minutes, essential to keeping the event on the schedule. That's something that I think Indianapolis just has over any place else. they have kind of built as they grew. They also purposely built things in this manner. They have right. Because they host the NCAA is housed there. The Pan American Games are there. USA Gymnastics is there. I think swimming is there. There's so many athletic headquarters that are there, and it's perfect. And they can, as they build, the city planners, they plan for that stuff. And so you've got it all interconnected, and Los Angeles cannot do that.
Nope.
Dallas might try, but
Dallas has a little bit better of a shot of doing that.
Yeah. But Indianapolis has been doing it, but they've been doing it with that purpose for a while. So, but Dallas is a place that obviously the NCAA gave love because that's where the women's Final Four was last year, I believe. And right. Dallas is a great place. Like I said, again, it's south, but it's centrally located in the United States, at least.
Yeah, I was just in Indianapolis last week, and I agree. I was at Hometown Suites downtown on Meridian Street, and everything was really close in proximity to Lucas Oil Stadium, to where, like you said, they hosted, I think, what is it, 2020 NCAA tournament or 2021 NCAA tournament, one of the two. But everything was like really close in proximity. IU Health. So yeah, I mean the attractiveness, of the convenience is there, but I think Dallas offers that as well.
Let's see, Sean. We'll talk some basketball in a minute. I don't know. Well, you know what? Okay. Sean's asked what my expectations for the crowd size in Assembly Hall for the beginning of the IU men's basketball season, if not at capacity. Why? Enthusiasm seems high. If it's not at capacity, that would be because it's A, not that big of a game, or B, some people may have still reluctance about being in a crowd like that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Going by Hoosier Hysteria, they had a decent crowd there. No one in the balconies, and the lower bowl wasn't full, but that wasn't real basketball. They don't do a lot, so you can't expect a lot there, Derrick. But for the first game, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, because that would involve all the season ticket holders driving down from wherever they are for it to be filled. It'll be interesting. I don't know is my answer. I really don't. I mean, if any answer I give would just be a guess, I'll tell you that. But I would think it would be pretty close to being filled just because it's Mike Woodson's first game. It's this new team's first game. This is a whole new regime, man. This is a whole new visual. They've changed everything but the candy stripes. So right. You're going to see a lot better product on the floor. So I don't know, but I'll tell you this, Sean, if it's not full, it won't be long before it is full because I think the product is going to do that.
Well, Mike Woodson, again, has brought a lot of energy to this program. And, with the recent signing of Ja'Kai Newton, out of Georgia, he's 2023. And that guy is phenomenal. Mike Woodson is attracting all kinds of household names. He has gotten Isaiah Thomas, a former IU great and NBA great icon in the NBA, who's partnered with him. And I think the buzz also with Trace Jackson also becoming, he's now preseason All-American. Yep. I'm telling you, this is going to be a lot different than what we've seen in the past. We are going to win some basketball games, and we're going to go deep this year. And Mike Woodson himself,
DB throwing it out already.
Yeah, we're going deep, man. I'm telling you, man, we are going deep this year, brother. And if you don't believe it, get your ticket.
I have no doubts. I mean, I think that they are a tournament team without question because they could have been a tournament team last year. They just did not have the direction that they needed. They were just rudderless last year. They had a pretty strong motor, but at times it was like a one-legged duck. They were just going in circles. I promise you that's not going to be the case this year. They have they if you ever watch what's the fishing show, The Dangerous Worlds, where they're out there catching all the crab. Deadliest catch.
Deadliest catch, right.
Yeah, they're going to be crawling into that basket now, ready to go. But this is a whole different team, a whole different product, and it's one that is going to be built on real defense, not a system that I don't even know what really was. But you also have some offensive threats on that team, and you have more than one, and you have competition. They didn't have that last year, Derrick. They didn't have competition with guys, and it doesn't matter what sport you're playing and what position. If you're a DB and you've got the worst wide receiver in the world because he's running his routes at half speed and half cuts, that's not doing you any good because you can't sharpen your skills. And it just iron sharpens iron, like they always say.
Exactly.
Let's see. Go ahead.
Mike Woodson, just reading about the guy again, we talked about it before, he's from the Indianapolis area. He understands what it is to win at Indiana. He understands the culture. He understands what the fans are looking for. So I, want to, I'm so indulged and I'm so interested. I'm even looking at men. We'll get to that. Look, IU men's soccer is doing phenomenal. If you've seen about the soccer team at IU, so sports in general is being phenomenal. And to address Sean's question about the crowd size, listen, man, I fully expect a full packed house at Assembly Hall. There's no reason why I wouldn't. That part of the country, from what I've seen when I was there just a couple of weeks ago for the Michigan State game, has become pretty safe. I know COVID is still there, but I think for the most part, people have become vaccinated and are now wanting to get back out and involve themselves in sports and having fun like that on the weekends or whatever day the games are played.
Yep, and then you've got the women's team, of course. Some All-Americans on that team. Dude, that women's team, Indiana's women's team, it's going to be now they're going to have expectations.
Right.
Exactly. Heavy expectations. You have, listen to this. Do you know what season this is for Allie Patberg?
No, I don't. I have no idea. What season is it? 7th season?
I have never, ever in my life heard of anyone getting 7 seasons. 7!
Wow.
That's that's like going to college twice.
Yeah. She
started out at Notre Dame, left there. So I think she had to have a redshirt year. I think there was a medical redshirt possibly, and then COVID.
Right.
So as crazy as it is, so she'll be what, 25?
25, yep. That's where the distance 3 years come from. Hey, listen. I tell you what, she'll be 25 and she will be well educated by the time she leaves. Because education continues, man.
Forget a doctorate, she might be a player coach by the time she leaves.
She could be. But I can tell you what, if I'm almost certain she will at least get out of there with her master's and she will probably start working on her doctorate,
now,
after 7 seasons.
I don't know if you're familiar with that team, but they were a Final 8 team last year.
Right.
They've got everybody back. Every one of all their starters are back. Right. And that's like nuts. So, and Grace Berger's, she's the cream of the crop. She's phenomenal. I said this. There's no question in my mind. She has to be probably the best women's basketball player ever at Indiana. But that's just up for Forrest joining in from Georgia.
Arguably the best.
We got a lot of who would you say?
I would have to look back into the history of women's basketball. We had a decent team when I was there, but I would have to take a look at that and see. That would be hard pressed to find somebody that has more of a household name than what I've been hearing with Grace Berger. I know that she's going to be doing. I think she's going to be doing a weekly radio show or something like. I was reading that earlier this week.
Probably a podcast.
Podcast exactly. That she's going to be doing podcast and. She's phenomenal, man. I tell you, I'm excited about, obviously I'm still excited about football. I don't care what has went on, and we'll get to that. But basketball, women, men, soccer, all of that, man. I'm really excited about all those things. The sports department is looking really good at this time.
Well, hey, as a matter of fact, I'm wearing, this is from 2017, but I'm wearing my Big Ten men's soccer tournament shirt right now, as a matter of fact. I remember this. It was held up at north of Carmel there. I remember driving to this finals in 2017. It's going up out of Carmel. It's all manicured, looking nice, but it was so cold.
Right.
There were icicles hanging off the fire hydrants and hanging off of anything with water. I was like, oh man, I don't really want to go to this. They don't have up there at Westfield. They don't have press boxes. I mean, they're temp press boxes, but it's a different deal. So
I bet
let's see. Forced noting that. Have we gone past a break, John?
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's take a break. We'll come back and get with this later. But we're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Derrick Jackson is with us. We've got a great lineup set up for you. Rick Bozich, Bob Kravitz will join us later as well. Back. Brought to you by the great folks at AAA Insurance. Hey, if you live down in Southwest Indiana, Southern Illinois, anywhere in that area, make sure check out AAA, especially because they support this show and support getting us to you, whether it's home, auto, life, they've got you covered. 812-477-9966. AAA Insurance. Be covered by someone who cares about you. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Hey, we all need insurance.
Man, I also forgot Peyton lost a bet to Eli because Ole Miss beat Tennessee. And so he sent him an Ole Miss jersey he had to wear. And when you visited, did you see all the jerseys that they have? How small they are because they're so stretched.
Yep. I'm wondering how some of those big guys, man, get on them.
Oh, well, Peyton couldn't hardly get in the one that Eli sent him, and then he only had to wear it for a half, and he was doing the countdown. He couldn't wait, and it was so hard for him to get off. Yeah, Grand Park in Westfield. Exactly, Matt. Exactly. It's a great place, great facility, don't get me wrong, but when they had the Big Ten championships up there, it was colder than crap. And everything was temporary. So,
hey,
oh well.
I meant to tell you, we're not on the air right now, are we?
We're not on the air, but folks on YouTube can hear us.
Okay, I got you. I'll shoot you a text shortly here. Okay. I'll be back. No, everything's fine, man. There's no big deal. I've got to take after this segment that we're getting ready to do, I'm going to do that. Then I got to cut out because I got to take my son to Fort Lauderdale. And then I've got a great one lined up for us next week, but I'll be back here shortly, man. Give me just 1 second.
No worries. Yeah, I forgot about that jersey.
I'm coming to the Minnesota game too. You know that, right?
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yep. I'll be back there for the Minnesota game, man.
Mini whiskey. Oh, more coffee already made, waiting for me.
All right.
So, Derrick, are you cutting out after this next segment?
After this segment, you got my text messages about Spud, right?
So is he joining at 10:20?
No. Remember, I sent you a text message. His boss got him in meetings all morning. He's going to have to reschedule.
Let me see that. I don't remember getting that.
Yeah, I sent you a text message on that.
Yeah, I have your one about Nolan Harrison, but that's
Yep.
And then that's the last one I got from you.
Really? Oh man. 502 is your 502. I'll resend it to you again. Y'all send it at like 9:11.
Oh shit, we're coming back from break. Hold on.
Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Hey, it is Wednesday, and
I'm crafty. Made it to hump day. We've got football weather for sure.
That's
Derrick,
true.
the temperature dropped, and that's what we should be expecting. There's some big games this weekend. I'm going to pull up just the Big Ten for a moment.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. Michigan State, Ohio
yeah,
State.
that's the cream of the crop. Those you got
State.
Michigan at Michigan State and Iowa, Wisconsin. Two made big time important games. Michigan and Michigan State are both 7-0 and fighting for a piece of the Big Ten East title.
Right.
So whoever loses that game is going to get knocked down a peg because Michigan nor Michigan State have played Penn State or Ohio State yet.
Well, Penn State and Ohio State plays this weekend, I think.
Oh, and I didn't roll down far enough.
Yep.
Oh yeah! Holy crap! This weekend is a defining weekend for the Big Ten.
Yeah, it is. This is a determining factor weekend.
This is where it starts mattering for real.
Yep, exactly. And I tell you, man, I can't wait. And I'll just say this about last weekend. Obviously, a very disappointing loss with Indiana and Ohio State. We didn't show up. I mean, you can't make any excuses about the whole thing. We didn't show up offensively, defensively, or on special teams. We've got to get better. Now, we have had some deep injuries. I think we're on our fourth quarterback. We've got to activate Donovan McCullough, who's a freshman. And so we're going to have to rebuild. But nevertheless, we still have opportunity. We still got Michigan on the agenda. So yeah, we still got some ball games ahead, man. Yeah.
And it's something I thought of last night that there's a lot of talk of everybody talking about coaching because there's coaching. There are a lot of what ifs and whatnots that go into this. Player performance, player development, coaching. So there's blame to go around, but ultimately the blame always falls on coaches. Even if it's players, it will fall on coaches.
Exactly.
And I've not seen a ton of it. I have seen some of it, but not to that bad that I've heard people calling, well, this coach needs to be fired. This coach needs to be fired. And some people even saying to Coach Allen, I'm like, you're an idiot. Whoever says that is an absolute idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And I don't mean that to be mean, but you just don't know what you're talking about. Now, has he made mistakes? Absolutely. Done things that I disagree with? Absolutely.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, and he's a great guy, and I think he could have a position on there, but not as offensive coordinator. I think Nick Sheridan was a mistake hire. I think it was a loyalty hire. And I think that is the one, not if you want to call it a negative, because what Tom Allen has done, no one else can do. No one else could have done. No one else did do. Since Bill Mallory, they have not been able to have a quality product. Well, Tom Allen didn't just turn in a quality product. It was superb. Last year was awesome. The athletes are better. He's got 40 kids. This is a much, much better team. But Indiana as a program is behind. That's not Tom Allen's fault. They're still trying to catch up with the Michigans and Michigan State and Ohio State and Penn State because they were so far behind. So that build is that hard to do. But that's the one thing that I disagree with that he's done. He does too much loyalty hiring. And this one I was really adamant about 2 years ago when it happened. And I said over and over, that's not, you could have hired anyone because that position at that moment was red hot because Kalen DeBoer, who is excellent, left to take a head coaching job at Fresno State. And everyone could see, man, that is a job. You're in the Big Ten. You're competing. So could have had anyone. Made a loyalty hire. And I don't think it's working out. I don't think the development is there, but they get the season to see. They've played a schedule against every team but two has been in the top 10, and most of them in the top 5. So that's an aspect to that. Now, I think they should have beat Cincinnati. They should have beat Michigan State with any semblance of an offense. But
getting all that firing them now stuff or this or that, that does no good. You got 5 games left, man. You got to get through this season, see what happens, and see if something can change. So there's that conversation doesn't even need to be had right now, and I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to say this person needs. I will say this person needs to make adjustments. This person needs to do something different. Nick Sheridan, and I asked him that in the press conference the other day. What changes can you make? What changes do you have to make? Because changes have to be made to win.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for a minute, and you talk about loyalty higher. Nobody showed up last weekend, defensively or offensively, or special teams. Charlton One has done a great job up until and even done great. Nobody showed up. So now what do you do? Okay, now what do you do? He was with Tom Allen before he brought him back. So now what do you do? Right. That's my question. What do you do now? Okay. So I just think the last weekend, the players, I didn't see them playing with any backbone. I seen us getting in the trenches. The game was won in the trenches. But when you score 30 points in a quarter, at that point you begin to wonder, is the defense even on the field? Do you know what I'm saying? So when you talk about, loyalty, now Nick Sheridan he's going to have the argument. Well, on the other side of football, numbers weren't so great either, So we just got to take a look at the whole thing. And I think it just takes the guys are going to have to believe in themselves. It's going to, like I told you last time, it's going to take leadership from within the team itself. Somebody to step up and say, hey, listen, we don't care who those guys are on the other side of the field. We don't care what their ranking is. We don't care what type of name their coach has. Just like when we play Michigan, same thing's going to happen. We don't care. When we in the 80s, when we took that approach, our team leaders, listen, man, these guys put on their pass the same way we do. They coach just like we are. We're in the same environment, the same elements are working against us this time of the year. So when we get out there, we're going to, Coach Mallory used favorite term, we're going to lockjaw, and we're going to take it to them for 4 quarters. And that's the attitude and the approach that these guys have to take. You don't lay down because somebody is in Ohio State or Michigan. We're not going to lay down for them guys. We never did. So that's what it's going to have to take.
Absolutely, to compete in a slate like this. Man, I love looking at those games coming up this weekend. Purdue gets to go to Nebraska. Purdue's got to be the most befuddling team to me right now in the Big Ten. They lose to people I can't believe they lose to. Then they go to Iowa City and just handcuff them and spank them in front of their home crowd and don't let them do a thing. That's just been – there's only 2 games from bowl eligibility, though. Jeff Brom has not had the run there that none of us expected. He's a great coach. He's a great offensive mind, a good guy. I know him, but I can't. It's like they just haven't caught that traction and propelled. And I know they had a lot of injuries, but they've had David Bell and oh man, I'm losing his name. He's in the NFL right now. Oh, he's from New Albany. Daggone. Go ahead and say it, John.
Rondale Moore. Yes. But they just haven't had a great quarterback. And a great quarterback, man, does that change things. Tim talks about how about Clemson doing so bad this year after losing their quarterback to the draft. Look at Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. Holy crap. The Bengals, man, they just took Lamar Jackson and the Ravens out behind the woodshed and just shut them down. I was like, what? Wait, what? But yes, a good quarter, not always, but you've got to have more than that. But you've got to have a man. You got to have a general. And that's Indiana's kind of their football program is wavering in that right now because that's a problem. But that's what you got to do. Hey, you get a chance to watch any of the World Series?
Yeah, my Braves, man. Oh man, my pitcher got hurt.
That's right. You're down.
Yeah, he had a broken fibula. The Atlanta Braves, last night, ball was coming about 125 miles an hour, man, and it just shattered, his fibula. and he's lost for the season.
Last night's game?
Yeah, the pitcher.
Who was that?
Morton, Charlie Morton.
Because now one guy got hit early on, and he stayed in the game. Was that a second pitcher that got hit?
I believe it was the second pitcher. Well, no, this was the first pitch, I believe. It was Charlie Morton.
Didn't he keep pitching?
Yeah, because
I thought he kept pitching.
He did. 6 pitches later, he had to come out. After 6 pitches, it was over with.
Oh.
Yeah,
gotcha.
It was over with after 6 pitches.
I didn't realize that was why. I may have fallen asleep by then.
Right. And yeah, Tim, there was a gentleman that asked, I forgot what his last name. Yes, Tim, I did play on the Bill Mallory in the Bill Mallory era, and my number was 24. Just to answer your question. Number 24.
Hey, man, we've got a lot coming up. Rick Bozich, he's in the green room. John, hopefully you took all the alcohol out of there, waiting to come on. We'll be back. No, I'm just kidding. Back with more after this. Bob Kravitz, Rick Bozich, Hall of Fame writer, joining us. Looking forward to it. You guys stick around. We'll be back with more.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
If you're in the market.
Yeah, Jim, that was Charlie Morton. He's going to this was game 1. So he's going to he fractured the bone in his leg. So he's going to be out the rest of the season.
I didn't know that.
Right.
Yeah, he stayed in the game and tried to keep pitching, and then he
right.
His leg, he figured out his leg was broken.
and that was, the Braves are my team, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know, the Rays had a pretty good run there few years back, but I've been a Braves fan, man, all of my life when it comes to baseball. And I usually never really watch it until it comes to the series. So that was very disappointing with that loss, with Charlie Morton being lost there.
I think.
Hey, Rick, could you wipe your screen off if you don't mind?
Yes.
Or your camera lens?
Yep.
I could never have been a Cubs or an Atlanta fan because when I was growing up, I think I was a junior in high school when we got cable TV. And all I had was there's TBS and Chip Carey and WGN with Rick, you've probably never heard my Harry Carey story.
No,
oh my God. It's one that I cherish. I'm not kidding. I got cussed out by Harry Carey once.
Save it for when we come back on.
Wow. I will. I met Tiny Tim, but
Tiny Tim, he's dead, isn't he?
Oh yeah, dude. I was working for a TV station in Wausau, Wisconsin, when I met him. But I will say he is one of the most engaging people. You could have a conversation with him about sports, about news, whatever. He was up to date, current. And I'm like, wow, dude must read the paper. Because there was definitely no internet back then.
Hey,
what's
Jim,
going on with the Hoosiers, Derrick? Can they bounce back and win a few games?
We're hoping so. I believe they can. But I tell you what, now we have to take every opponent that we play as a ranked opponent, because we didn't do anything last week. And so even though we're playing Maryland and Rutgers, these games are just as important. They are Big Ten opponents, just like any other, and we have to. I mean, now and to become bowl eligible, we have to win out. And we've got Michigan also in the fold, so we have to win out.
All right, guys, here we go. Coming back from break.
All right, I'm gonna jump off, guys. Jim, I will call me later, Jim. Okay.
All right, sir. Will do. Thank you.
Okay.
Seafood. Sam's Ale House in Carmel and on 86th Street in Indy have a long list of craft beers and all of the right foods to go with. Plan a day on the links at Eagle Point in Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink. This segment is brought to you by Sam's Family of Restaurants. Fresh, local, family. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Make sure you go to andymorehonda.com. Rick Bozich and Bob Kravitz. Man, that just sounds like a dinner entree that you can't get enough of.
It sounds like a pierogi or something. Kravitz and Bozich.
Like
I'm
a
telling
plumbing company.
Yeah.
you guys, it's better than Packer and Durham. So you guys should start that.
I just saw Wes last Saturday. I'll pass along your regards.
You saw who?
Wes Durham. He was here doing the Louisville game last Saturday.
Well, it's not him. It's Packer. I when I was young and in college and doing all the stuff that you do to try to, get up. I worked for CBS Sports and did a lot of NCAA games and would always be around those guys. And they were all great. Quinn Buckner, even Bill Walton called me to thank me once. I remember that's back when you had machines we had these machines, people at home that recorded people when they called you at home. But anyway, my roommate called me and said, "Dude, you got a message from Bill Walton on the machine." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, don't worry." I said, "Yeah, I was expecting that," but it was all right. Here's my Harry Carey story. I was also doing the same thing. We were covering a Reds game at Riverfront and a Cubs game, and this was like the week after Derby because there was a girl that I worked with at Derby from Chicago, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to work the Reds game next week." And I said, "Oh, me too." So she said, "Hey, let's go up to the booth after, and we'll get Harry's autograph." And I'm like, "All right." I wasn't a Cubs fan, but I knew a buddy that was a big-time Cubs fan, and I'm like, "What the hell? I'll get one for myself." So I grabbed a couple of balls off the field during BP, and after the game, we went up there, and there's only 4 of us. I'm the first in line, and, "Hey, Mr. Harry, can you sign my ball?" And he's like, he was probably good 10 buds in, but he signed it. I said, "Mr. Carey, would you mind signing one for my friend?" No, I signed your ball. I get out of here. So I'm like, all right, I just go to the back of the line thinking he's so drunk, he's not even going to notice. But we go through and I come back up and say, "Hi, Mr. Carey, would you sign a ball?" He's like, "No, you son of a bitch, I signed your ball. Get the hell out of here." So that was my Harry Carey story, man. I cherish that story. I absolutely love it. Well, how are you guys doing, man?
Doing great. Rick can understand this story. So I went all the way out to San Francisco, 7-hour delay getting out of Indy. In, I'm ready to write my column off the game. My computer dies.
Oh no!
Wow.
My computer refused to boot up. I tried everything. I mean, I threw it across the press box. I figured something's got to work. So if people are wondering where the hell my column is from the Colts' terrific victory the other day, it's nowhere.
Wow. Holy cow.
Just got it back this morning.
How old was that thing?
It's a year old.
Whoa.
It's a year old, and the thing just tore. Then the guy explained to me yesterday what went wrong, and my eyes just went to the back of my head. I'm like, you do realize that I barely know how to use Twitter, much less, you try to explain to me what went wrong with my something drive and my something. I'm just sitting there like, no, okay, just fix it.
You couldn't write it out and dictate it?
Not like the old days. No, I don't roll that way anymore.
Have George Montgomery send it on the old fax machine. Remember that?
Fax machine, yeah. Does he still have that tape recorder? It's bigger than
yes.
Miles Turner.
The only person who had a bigger tape recorder was Sid Hartman.
Yeah.
George Montgomery, and we're getting off course here, but
I was just getting ready to say George Montgomery because I just noticed it the other day in the football post presser. I looked down and there's this size, and I said, "That's a damn cassette tape recorder." Yep. I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, there's no editing. You can't edit that. I don't know how you do that.
He used to, where I first met him, he worked at IU games and he had his own telecopier.
Yeah.
And when out-of-town sports writers would come to cover games with their typewriters and type their stories up, he would charge them, I don't know, $75, $100, whatever it was, to basically, we call it fax. Back then it was telecopy their stories back to their newspapers. Back then when you had a choice of putting it on the 6-minute mode or the 4-minute mode.
Yeah.
With that real smelly paper that they used.
Remember that sound you used to get for dial-up?
So George at one time was kind of crafty. That shocks you. Have no idea how much that shocks me.
Oh, he's a hustler, man.
He's a hustler, man. He knows how to make a buck.
Man,
he knew all the sports writers around the Big Ten, and he always got them to use his service.
He's funny, folks. He's a character. You probably
That's
don't know who he
that's
is.
a word.
Let
George
me tell you,
Montgomery
he is a character. You know what? I may have to get him on one day. With you guys,
do
that
so
would be
at your
freaking
own
hilarious.
risk.
Oh man, trust me, I have my own stories, believe me. But yeah, it's just funny. But yeah, he's pretty crafty. Yeah, what does he do now? It's with Fox somehow.
I think he runs around getting radio interviews for different radio networks.
Yeah,
he gets them and tries to get the radio networks to take his interviews. Right? I think
right. Something.
Gosh, let's see, Rick, what's going on with you, man? What's the latest?
Last weekend I was at the Louisville game. This weekend, none of the local teams are at home, so I'll be watching games on TV and getting ready for college basketball to start.
Yeah.
And speaking of college basketball, Indiana was supposed to play Belmont in Louisville, and well, that was I don't know what's going on with that. They canceled the Cincinnati secret scrimmage because of a lack of bodies.
The Belmont one's not going to be played either.
I don't know. I don't think nothing has been known about that, but there's just been a lot of questions.
Saturday downtown at the Yum Center, I think.
Yeah. So I've not heard that that's canceled. There's been a lot of talk about it, but I think people were thinking that because they had a lot of unhealthy bodies, but I've heard nothing of it being canceled. And I know that they would desperately like to get that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not playing any exhibition games like everybody else is.
Well, they had the two in the Bahamas, which took care of that. I guess.
Right.
Now, are you gonna try to get in
to the secret scrimmage?
Yeah.
If I was, I wouldn't tell you.
At least not on this forum. Oh man, the funny thing is about those secret scrimmages is as soon as they're over, so many
Jeff
of
Goodman
us
has the box score.
We got as soon as it's over. So yeah, and that'll be the case. Somebody will have it as soon as it's over. You'll have all the statistics. Probably have halftime statistics at halftime. But Bob, and how about you, Bob? What you been doing?
Well,
besides losing your articles.
Besides losing my articles, working on a couple of big pieces, and I've got the Colts today. Obviously, they got a monster game. To me, this is their chance to have a chance at the playoffs. You know, they're 3-4. Tennessee's 5-2. They have got to beat the Tennessee Titans this weekend. I think this is a chance for Carson Wentz to really flip the narrative on its head because he's playing some really good football. I think he's starting to show some of the signs. I just been spending the morning looking at his numbers from 2017 and 2018, and he's right there. And he's played one game in a rainstorm and one game with two bad ankles. So he's been kind of a revelation, really. So I got that, and I got the Pacers on Saturday and Monday. I'm going to jump on them, and and a bunch of long pieces that I'm working on that I can't tell you about.
A lot of secret scrimmage going on.
A lot of secret long form stories.
But yeah, Indianapolis, the Colts, and those wins have looked so good, and. There's the one game, was it the Miami game, or they lost that they shouldn't have lost?
No, that was Baltimore.
Baltimore, but man, that changes so much on that record. It not only does it look better, but it is better. It propels them. They were so close to that, and then Baltimore goes and gets destroyed by Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Isn't that something?
I mean, destroyed. I was like, wow. This dude is for real, and what a difference that quarterback is making. But, of course, it has to be a little bit more than a quarterback. But he just looks so comfortable in what he's doing.
Yeah. No, Burrow is special, man. But just getting back to Tennessee real quick. I mean, they beat Buffalo in that great game that went down to the end. And then, of course, they absolutely stomped on Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. So right now, this is a team that's probably playing about as good a football as anybody in the league. To me, I mean, I hate, 8th game of the season must win. Yeah, this is a must win. If they fall too behind, that's a problem. No, that's a real problem. You lose you lose both your games to Tennessee. Now you're 3-5. They're 6-2. That's a real issue.
Yeah, they got a tough road to hoe, but they sure look like they can possibly manage it if their schedule stays out for them.
Well, yeah, and they got to get healthy. I mean, they got Quentin Nelson back. Braden Smith is supposed to come back, so they'll have their offensive line intact sooner rather than later. The things that still bother me is that the lack of an edge pass rush is still an issue, and their secondary it was thin to start with, and now with Yasin hurt and Xavier Rhodes playing hurt. No Julian Blackman. They're really thin back there.
Rick, Indiana travels to Maryland this weekend on the football field, and every game from here on out has to be considered a must-win game if you're looking at bowl eligibility. And this is absolutely one of those must-win games because it's a team that
sucks.
You were supposed to be better than, but they haven't been, and I don't even know if maybe they're on par with them, but they're on the road. So you got that. And Minnesota's not going to be a gimme, even though it's here. They still have to go to Michigan and go to Purdue. This is a must-win game. And the quarterback, we talk about the quarterback with Joe Burrow, how much of that difference that made. Well, the quarterback has not made much of a difference for Indiana because none of them have played well this year, unfortunately. And that's a serious, serious issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's a total meltdown by the offense, really. It's almost impossible to believe how far it's gone backwards from last season where they had that. Didn't they scored more points in the second half against Ohio State last year than they've scored in the Big Ten the whole season this year, right? I mean,
yep.
I'll take your word for it, but that sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting any quarterback play. They're not getting any offensive line play. Even the receivers who were highly touted haven't had a great year. The running back room has been, decimated by transfers and whatever else, and people are upset with the offensive coordinator. It's pretty much every possible angle you could talk about it. When I look at the team, I just wonder internally whether they still have the resolve and the self-confidence to win a game like this against Maryland. I know they're a 5-point underdog, but they're not going to beat Michigan on the road. So that means they have to beat Maryland if they have any chance of going bowl eligibility. And after they've been beaten down the way they've been beaten down by the schedule and everything else that happens, is there enough leadership within that team to deliver that kind of an effort this weekend? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, Bob, and if they were to lose this game, man, that would be tough to keep the team in check for 4 more games after that, to let it completely go into the dumpster. So winning this game is tantamount for their season, really.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What we found out is they didn't handle success real well. Let's see how they handle a lot of adversity. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't McCulley going to start this week or no?
I don't know.
I don't think they've said yet, right?
But
then they list like 4 guys.
Yeah, well, yes, because he mentioned that in his press conference. Somebody said something. He goes, "Well, we're not going to talk about that or whatever." So I'd say they're going to run guys in and out. So whoever starts, it's not matter. Donovan McCulley or
Tuttle.
No, or not Tuttle.
No, the walk-on guy.
Graham. Yeah, walk-on. Graham Grimmer.
Or Zionsville or wherever he's from.
Grimmer, who probably never expected to see a minute of a Big Ten game, and
much less against Ohio State.
And now is a potential starter. He's the new Xander Diamont, without quite the excitement that Xander gave.
Xander Diamont. Oh, that brings back memories.
Oh man, well, that's kind of a situation that they're in without minus the running game. At least Xander had Tevin Coleman on that team. So they had a hell of a running game and a decent offensive line. Now you don't have that. You've got an offensive line that's leaky and a quarterback that is unexperienced and was 3rd and 4th on the depth chart and no running backs. I mean, I don't know how in the hell anyone expects them to win a game with that situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Indiana this year is that I think if you look closely at what happened last year and what a great advantage they created in terms of the turnover differential, that probably wasn't going to continue again this year, and it hasn't, and that's really hurt them. But I thought they had moved past the point of where they would get beat the way they got beat by Ohio State last Saturday. This is back to where it was, in the early stages of rebuilding. I mean, Ohio State, what was it, 44-7 at halftime? Ohio State could have put 70 on them. Ryan Day backed off in the second half, but they're back to the ground floor.
But how much of not having an offense plays into that? Because at least they had some semblance of offense.
It's everything.
Yeah, and it's they don't have a quarterback. Stephen Carr is a decent running back, but he's got nobody to help him. They've got no offensive line, and the receivers haven't had a good year. I mean, it's pretty much a complete offensive breakdown. And so you wonder at this point, isn't the primary discussion at this point going to be what after the season is Tom Allen going to do to fix it? Is the offensive coordinator going to be changed? Is the offensive line coach going to be changed? What other staff moves is he going to make? Because the best offense he's had since he's been there is when Kalen DeBoer was there, and the offense has declined both seasons since DeBoer's been gone.
Although with all the guys they're missing, I'm not sure Don Coryell could do anything with this group.
That's true.
That's true. I believe that. Oh, absolutely, I agree with that right now. But even when they started, I think they put all their eggs in Penix's basket, and he was going to be the guy. And it should have been a Tuttle and Penix thing. I don't know. We were in practice, but they kept a lot of the offensive stuff away inside, so you couldn't see what that was going on. But they know he was not allowed to be hit the whole time, and it seemed like they were setting themselves up for disaster. But by doing that, but I can't say because I wasn't in the decision-making part of that.
Didn't Allen at least suggest this week he's finally going to make some changes on the offensive line, which I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I asked him about it. I said, or Nick Sheridan. I said, what changes can you make, and what changes do you have to make? Well, that was to Nick Sheridan, and but I don't know if he had anything to do with that. Tom, yeah, I asked Tom about that too, and he did say that they'll look at changes, but it seems like they should have been looking at changes 5 games ago. But they are what they are. I was wondering what Xander Diamant's dad was also on The Young and the Restless. Yeah, I remember he was on some soap opera.
I mean, it's a perfect storm too. I mean, if you look at they're 2-5, and every team they've lost to is ranked in the top 20. I think 4 of them are in the top 10. I mean,
top 10. Yeah,
this is not the kind of team that's equipped to play that kind of schedule. It's not.
No, and the only bad thing is in watching the Cincinnati and Michigan State games, being there, you knew they could have easily have won those with just an average offense or a competent offense. That's all they needed. And the Cincinnati game, of course, losing Mike McFadden didn't help, but they still had they had their opportunities, and it's just, you can't take it back. So moving forward,
were you there Saturday night? Were you there Saturday night?
Yes, sir. Right by your seat. I like when you're not there, I use it all up.
It looked like just it would rain pretty much the whole game. It just looked like
a pretty heavy mist. It was a pretty heavy mist, a little stronger than that. Didn't seem to affect the game much. Ohio State with 0 turnovers and Indiana with 3, but I don't think that had anything to do with the ball or the rain.
Right.
So what are you working on or heading towards this weekend? Are you going to a game to cover?
I don't think I have a game to go to this weekend unless I sneak into that secret scrimmage.
That's right. That's right.
Kentucky's at Mississippi State, and what's a big game for them. I mean, if Kentucky can beat Mississippi State, they've got a really good chance to finish the year 11-1 and play in a New Year's Six bowl game.
Now, is that record surprising to you? this year?
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't think they would beat both Florida and LSU, but they beat them both at home, and they've had a good year. They've done a good job in the transfer portal. They brought back Wan'Dale Robinson from Nebraska, who's been a stud receiver. They got Penn State's backup quarterback, Will Levis, and he's been okay. They got an offensive lineman from LSU who's good. And they got Ole Miss's starting linebacker who's been their leading tackler. So I give them credit. They've made 4 dips into the transfer portal, and they've been 4 excellent contributing players.
And that's a point that I think Indiana did not do a good job at. While they did bring in some transfers, mostly on the defensive side. I think there was one on the offensive side. They probably could have done a lot more in that area, and I guess they just thought that they were set up and with what they needed to have on the offensive line. But with the portal, like I said before, it's just like a grocery store. Just what? Hey, we're offensive tackles. That's down on aisle 15. Go down to aisle 15 and get you a couple offensive tackles and bring them in.
But you got to know who might be going in there, and as soon as they go in, be aggressive to go after them. But the thing I'll say about Kentucky, the number one thing they did was they schedule like they know who they are. They started the year with Louisiana Monroe. Then I forgot the second game might have been Missouri, and then the third game was Chattanooga. I mean, that's where you can take fault with Indiana. Until you get the program at a point where you're sure you've got the talent level, you have to schedule 3 non-conference games you're going to win, especially in the Big Ten, where you've got to play 9 conference games instead of 8 like you do in the ACC or SEC. That's non-negotiable. If you want to get to 6 wins every year and get a bowl streak going, you better schedule 3 non-conference wins every year. And Indiana didn't do that. And even one of the games they won at Western Kentucky, that was unnecessary to put themselves in a situation where they had to go on the road and play a team that was pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
And it was a tough win to get.
I mean, fans might not like it, but you have to schedule 3 wins. You have to.
Absolutely. And well, I'm sure when they scheduled Cincinnati 8 years ago, they were scheduling a team that was in the old Metro Conference. That's who they thought they were getting. But Luke Fickell has done that. Not done that. Bob, what's your take?
Well, you mean what am I doing this weekend? Oh, there's my dog.
Yeah. What's the name? Got to have a name. What's the name?
Espo.
Espo.
Like
Tony Esposito?
Like Tony Esposito, who is my goaltending idol growing up.
Oh, that is
I'm a Blackhawks fan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Espo, Espo, the 9-pound wonder dog.
He's only 9 pounds. There's no way.
9 pounds. He's a little guy.
Oh, he's a little dude. Oh, he's a little dude.
Yeah.
With a black eye.
Yeah. He wasn't
cool.
there. Yeah, he's a cool dog. He's right in my face right now. Hey, I don't mean to be rude, but I've got to do an interview in about 2 minutes.
We're letting you go right now. Bob, you have a great day. You and
Esposito
have a great day, brother.
All right, buddy. Say goodbye, Espo.
Bye, Espo.
Bye, Espo.
See ya.
Rick, you're a big dog guy. What's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Ruby. Ruby's actually she goes and plays with other dogs every Wednesday. So she's gone.
Really?
Today. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's good for socialization.
What kind of dog?
She's a Labrador. She's a Labrador Retriever. So there's a place a couple miles from my house where, it's like a doggy daycare place. And we let her go. We send her there every Wednesday because it helps with socialization when she's out with other dogs. She knows how to interact with them. And it's also good to have a day when it's a break where she's not always wanting you to throw the ball and pay attention to her.
Yeah, there's someone that lives near where I live. I've seen him a couple times training their dog not to run at cars. He would be out on the side of the road that we leave on, and he's got a hold of him. And as soon as you drive by that dog, it's all that dude could do to hold that dog back from running at the cars. And I kept watching him do it to every. I'm like, holy cow, it's amazing. But yeah, we're always dog friendly. I forget. There's been several dogs on here. John, I forget who else brought their dog on.
Verdell brought his dog on.
Oh, that's right. Verdell Jones,
Lady the Rottweiler.
Rick, is now a fireman.
Yeah, I read that.
In Champaign. So
what's
very,
the
very
word?
cool.
I'm going to ask you, get some info. What's the word up there about the IU basketball team? Because I see they're
From a fan standpoint, or-
7th, 8th in the Big Ten. Some people are calling them a outside chance to make the top 25. What's the feeling?
for me, 4 through 8 might be interchangeable in the Big Ten. I don't know those teams. You get past Michigan and Purdue. I don't know if Maryland. I don't know if there's a top 3 really. It may start at 3, but Illinois has got some guys back obviously as well, so maybe they're in that top 3. But then you've got
Right.
Wisconsin and Ohio State, that Rutgers and Indiana. So those 4 teams right
Michigan
there, I
State,
think
maybe.
are interchangeable. So if someone picks them 7th or 8th, it's not really a slight because you have to go on what you've seen last, but that is not at all the team that's going to be coming out because it's going to be a bunch of new faces with a whole new style of play, a different defensive structure that is going to be, I assume, much, much better. If they played the way they did against those teams in the Bahamas, that to me is like, wow, they're kind of ahead of the curve because that's a team that a semi-pro team that is together and sends guys to the NBA. So
Right.
that had to be a great sign. Well, they've had 6 weeks from there or however long it's been to get even better. And it's just a guess again by me, but I can't see them. I think they are inside the top 5 to shock people, but that's just a guess.
Okay.
What I think. But the fans, well, they think probably going to play for a Big Ten title. And I don't mean that as a hey, that's fans want their teams to win. But yeah, I see a lot of people like Final Four, and all that. But I definitely think they're a tournament team. The Big Ten, and speaking of that, Big Ten could have like 9 teams in the tournament again this year, unless they eat each other up. But there's so many teams again, and I think this year they're actually maybe a little more balanced. I don't know how strong Purdue is going to be. I know they got a lot back, but
Right.
it seems like everybody lost a little something. Illinois is that team that lost a little something. I don't know if they're going to be quite as good as they were last year.
Yeah, when I did the Big Ten preview for Athlon Sports Magazine, I wasn't as high on Illinois as a lot of other people. I think that Io was really, and I know they played part of February without him when he was injured, but he was such a clutch player who took over the end of games that they'll miss him. And people are going crazy about Curbelo because he's fun to watch. He's got a little, sizzle to his game, but he's not really a great shooter and he has a pretty high turnover rate. So I got to see more from him. And they also lost that Adam Miller kid who transferred to LSU and now tore his ACL and is out for the year. I know they went in the portal and got a few guys, but it's Michigan, Purdue on top, in my opinion. Then after that, it's probably Maryland and Ohio State and Illinois in the next group. And I'd say Indiana's in the next group with Michigan State. And I think Wisconsin is a team Indiana should beat this year, and Iowa for sure. They both lost a lot of guys. Rutgers is the one I have a hard time getting the feel for. Rutgers beat Indiana 3 times last year. And although they lost Young and the big dude, they got Geo Baker and Ron Harper and the guy with the headband, I think, Macaulay or whatever his name was. They got those dudes back, and they seem to play with the belief that they're better than Indiana. So until Indiana proves differently, they are better than Indiana.
Yeah, because you have to go on what you know, and that is the case, and they've been playing together. But I really think I cannot wait to see the team, only to get a gauge on it. But I think it's going to surprise people because they haven't seen it other than the Bahamas, but that was 6-7 weeks ago, so that's not near the product of what they have now. And one of the things that Mike Woodson has talked a lot about is conditioning, NBA style conditioning, where they're going to go. So that's going to be probably something that entices recruits to come here. It's kind of an Alabama type style, but I think there's going to be a lot more emphasis on defense than Alabama does.
Yeah, I agree. And you want to see what Kopp can do. You want to see how good is Xavier Johnson at point guard in terms of we know he can score, but he had a high turnover rate at Pitt. Will he be able to keep that under control at Indiana? Parker Stewart's another great
That
unknown.
is the question right there, because every member on this team says he is the best three-point shooter on the team.
Right.
So that sounds good, but we have not seen him play a single second on the court. And in interviewing him, he's really quiet and reserved. And I'm going to be interested to see on the court. I'm assuming, I bet he has an exact opposite personality maybe on the court, and that's where it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many guys that you look at that could be better than we've seen. I mean, can Finney ever come back to be the player he looked like he was going to be as a freshman? Is Lander going to be the kind of player he was expected to be when he was a high school senior? Is Leal going to be Mr. Basketball who can make shots? Is Galloway going to take the next step on his game from being a guy who's pretty good with the ball but can't shoot or couldn't shoot much last year? Is Durr going to get healthy to give him the kind of backup man that's important in Big Ten play because he's a big physical guy? So Thompson and Jackson Davis don't have to play 33 to 37 minutes a game. I mean, there's Kopp. Is he going to be a shooter from the wing who can make 3-point shots like he usually did against Indiana? A lot to see. And then Tamar Bates might be better than any of them. I mean, he's really skilled. He's just not experienced. So a lot to see. And Geronimo is a guy who has ability and defends and rebounds. There's questions about his offense. There's a whole lot to see in terms of who actually does take a step forward.
Yeah, Jennifer thinks that 6th or 7th in the Big Ten, too much damage to fix after Archie Miller's departure to turn it around that fast.
Yeah, I picked them 7th. I know I got criticized for it, but I think 7th.
Oh, anybody that picked them outside of the top 4 is getting criticized, I promise you, by the fans. I can tell you that right now.
Didn't they lose their last 7 games last year? I mean, 6 or 7.
Hey, man, that's gone. They're all banners. Yeah, banners in the eyes. But that's fans. That's what they're supposed to do. But we'll see. Well, expectations on football unfortunately didn't work out. But everyone's kind of, and that's so sad. That's one of the things I hate for what Tom Allen had built up, is they're losing that. They had built that mountain of faith, of people believing, and not the losing, but how they are losing is crumbling quickly. And I don't know how, man, you're going to have it next season is going to have a season like last year quick, or I don't know if you can recapture that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I meant early on, is like, I thought they had moved past the point of being in games where they weren't competitive, and they weren't competitive against Ohio State. They just weren't. And I wasn't there, but I read some comments from people that were there who said they saw, the defense at times looked like they had even checked out a little bit. So if that happens, that's not good. And I mean, let's be honest, they got to win 4 of the last 5 and really it's 4-4 because they're not going to beat Michigan at Michigan. It's happened, once since the 60s. So the odds of that happening are very slim. It's unlikely with their margin for error that they can win 4 out of 4 games, right? With that offense, I mean, it's unlikely. Yeah, they're not going to go to a bowl. They're going to lose that part of the momentum, and I think everybody thought that a bowl was a sure thing going into the season.
Absolutely. Right? I thought the worst thing would be playing in Nashville at the Music City Bowl, which would have been a fine thing.
I mean, I picked them to go 7-5, and people got mad at me and said I was a hater. I was like, study the history of Indiana football until they actually prove they can do it year after year after year. I need more proof.
Rick, what do you got coming up next that folks need to look at WDRB.com?
Like I said, this weekend I'll be watching IU. I'll be watching Louisville at NC State. I'll be watching Kentucky at Mississippi State. All of our local teams are on the road. I might go to an exhibition basketball game. I've been to one of Louisville's red-white scrimmages to see them.
How are they looking this year?
They're going to be good, and I don't think they're great. They're probably a 5th or 6th place team in the ACC. They got a lot of new pieces, and they got a whole new offensive style. Chris Mack with the turnover in his coaching staff, brought in 2 new assistants, and one of them is named Ross McMahons, who was a former G League coach who coached in New Zealand also, who they're committed to playing up tempo and shooting more threes. So that's a big change from the way they have played, and we'll see how it works.
There used to be a coach in Indiana that said that like every year. And I'm trying to remember his name.
On Jeff Goodman's podcast last week.
He might have been.
Yeah,
might have been. I think that sounds familiar. Man, I can't think enough, and how you gotta get going. But man, have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you soon, Rick. Thank you, sir.
Right. Thanks, Jim.
The great Rick Bozich joining us here from WDRB.com. Always appreciate him and his wisdom. Man, he is one of the greats. He is a Hall of Fame writer from the U.S. Basketball Writers Association. He is longtime columnist at the Courier Journal. Covered IU graduate, actually, though. Goes back to covering IU in 76 as a student for the IDS. How about that? I think he got one of the stories. He got kicked off the bus by night for something. But we got to take a break. We got lots more coming up. Don't forget, if you're looking for a vehicle, Andy Moore Honda has got the deals for you. They've got 2021 Honda Passports and 2021 Pilots. $0 down, 0 APR financing. And it's tough enough to wear pink month. So every vehicle you buy there, you're helping them help the American Cancer Society and breast cancer. It's breast cancer awareness. We're back with more on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration or just
Hey, John Boy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Hey, I just thought of something I want to start doing.
Mm-hmm.
On the ins and outs.
Mm-hmm.
Ins and outs. Do this.
Hold on. Now, kids.
You see that?
Oh, when that's playing?
On the ins and outs, yes. I want that to be visual.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like on the way out, you throw that up. That helps me a lot for one, but it also is a lot better looking. So and so that doesn't show.
I disagree, but if you want to do that, that's fine.
I do. I absolutely do. I'm glad I thought of it. I think it's a great thing. Why do you disagree? Just out of curiosity.
It's kind of intrusive.
Intrusive on what?
To the viewers.
This is how the viewers are getting to hear this.
They don't hear it, they see that, but
this is part of how they're getting this content, and they know that. It's like it's no different than television. It's not intrusive.
That's fine. When we do it, I'll do it.
Absolutely. Because that would be great. See, that just, yes, absolutely. That's going to be perfect. I wish I'd have thought of that a long time ago. Just don't do that one. That would be.
Yeah. I'll do all the one. I'll try to find one for each thing that we have.
What you can use the same one. Just copy.
Well, I know, but we need one for each of the sponsors probably.
Oh, absolutely.
We only have 2 of them up there right now, but it's fine. We only have 1 segment left anyway, and I've got Remax coming up, so we can do that. Here we go.
Bloomington has the deals for you. How about a brand new 2021 or 2022 Honda Pilot? All the trims for 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Or how about a brand new 2021 Honda Passport? Also 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurants.
Hey, welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat on this Wednesday, of course, brought to you by Cheryl Sizemore Remax Realty. If you're in the Indianapolis area, looking for a home, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. Could be the difference in you getting the home you want or not. 317-298-0961 or Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Welcome back in. Man, that was fun, John. You can stay in with Rick and Bob, but it always is. That's why they're two. Rick's a Hall of Fame writer, and Bob Kravitz he's not in, but he will be at some point. Long time sports writers, and they've been around. They know what's going on. And
yeah, I really think they enjoyed your Harry Carey story at the beginning too.
I enjoyed telling it. It's
now, is that his actual name? Because I tried looking for who he was.
He may have changed it to that. I can't remember, but his son did the Atlanta games for all those years, and it was Skip Carey.
Okay.
So I don't know that was his real name. Because Harry Carey is a terminology used long ago, I think, for it was a Japanese slogan for committing death or something. I forget.
Wow.
He committed Harry Carey. You have to look that up. Somebody older than me will know the answer to that.
I know committing seppuku. I don't know if that's Japanese or Chinese. That's the word.
That sounds like going to the restroom.
Apparently that's seppuku is suicide in one of those language.
That's like, I got to take a seppuku. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same ring as Harry Carey.
I agree.
Harry Carey. Hitting some comments up. I do not think that the secret scrimmage is canceled. Personally,
where did we hear that from initially, or hear the rumors about that? Was that I don't want to call anyone out, but
no, on the message boards here and feel free, guys. Again, if you're not listening live, still comment. Throw your comments up on here. We'll I get to them. I promise you. But and if you're not listening to us live, still go sign up on YouTube and hit notifications so you don't miss an episode, because basketball is about to hit. And we've got a lot of other programming that will be on here as well. And
yes, and make sure with the clips, I want to throw this out there, make sure you're liking all of the clips that you're watching as well, because the more that people like these clips, the more people that aren't subscribed will see these and suggest it for other people to watch, which also helps us.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Indiana is going to try at all cost to play that secret scrimmage against Belmont.
Do you think Rick will be going, by the way? It kind of seemed like he was hinting that he might be there.
I have no idea. It's a secret scrimmage. So I do not know. I cannot tell you. But we'll look forward to it. Look forward to the results, because they'll come out as soon as they can, or as soon as that ends. And this weekend, I've got to go back to the games.
Or you want to pull up the weekend slate for the Big Ten?
Yeah, I'm going back to look. Oh, don't forget about. Let's see, is the World Series again tonight down in Houston? Don't forget. Man, they were hitting the ball right off the bat. Like I said, leadoff batter hit a home run. That's a World Series record. That was crazy. Basketball has started as well. Let's see, the Pacers, they play tonight at 7:30. We'll talk to Chris Denari about that tomorrow after that result. They just lost. Didn't they lose 2 nights ago?
I wish we had Dustin Schutte here right now, because he's our resident Pacers update man. I don't really keep up with them as much as I used to.
Well, I can tell you, I'm pretty sure that they lost their last game. Well, they're 1-3, so.
They've lost several of them by 1 point or 1 possession. They lost to the Bucks yesterday or on Monday, 119-109. I'm seeing.
And the funny thing is, they're 4th in the league in points scored.
That just shows you got a defensive problem right there.
Yeah, they're not putting the defense up. I wish they'd put the defense up, because field goal percentage, they're 14th in the league at 46%. I don't know if that's good or not in the NBA. 3-point percentage is 36%. I don't know if that's good in the NBA. I know college numbers better, but I do know that fourth is good in anything, and they're fourth in points scored at 117 points per game. So where in the crap, what are they giving up on defense?
You've got two guys who are both averaging 24.8 points with Malcolm Brogdon and Domantas Sabonis. That is absolutely insane.
Well, part of that's because you don't have Karis LeVert in there. There's a couple guys missing, I believe.
And the rookie, Chris Duarte, almost 20 points a game.
All right, rebounds per game, they're seventh. That's all these great-looking offensive stats, except field goal percent. They can't shoot worth a crap. That's not great. It's okay, but it's not very good. Free throw percentage, 81%. They're sixth. That's good. 3-point percentage or 11th. Not bad. I want some. No daggone defense, man. Give me some defensive stats. No, why?
Yeah,
That maybe that's why.
That's exactly what people say they don't like the NBA. Not only do they not play defense, but you can't find their statistics on here because they're that bad all across the league. Am I right?
Oh, probably.
Not that here's the thing. They're not bad at defense, but you can only try so much when you have so many games in the NBA. I understand that that's kind of the mindset sometimes.
Well, they're obviously not playing very good defense. Give me the stupid games, man. Because they've lost. They've scored like 131 points in a game and lost or whatever. It's crazy. Yeah, they're scoring 130 but giving up 131. That's been the topic.
They're opening two games specifically. They lost Charlotte 123-122, and then to Washington they lost in overtime 135-134.
Wow. Two losses by what, 3 points?
2 points combined. 1 point apiece.
They were both 1-point games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Dude,
and their only win was an overtime to Miami, 102-91.
That's the difference in being in tied for second in their standings already.
Mm-hmm.
They would be 3-1 instead of 1-3. It's too hard to watch. I don't watch pro basketball this early.
There's so much. We're at the time of year where you've got all major sports going on. You got the NHL, you got the NBA, you got the MLB World Series, you got college football. We're almost into college basketball. I believe it's a week from this coming Tuesday. We'll be starting college basketball.
Fall is without question the busiest sports time of the year because, like you said, all of those converge or meld. There's some that'll be ending. Soccer, football kind of ends, but basketball starts well in the middle of it. You've got them all going on. So, but it gives you something to do, man. And I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it all. And I think everyone is looking forward to it all. One thing that struck me watching that World Series game last night is no one was wearing a mask in Houston, even though I know it's outside, but it's
Texas though. You know how it is down there.
And I'm not Mr. Nazi about it. I probably wouldn't have either. So some of the guys on the teams were. Let's see. We're talking about Harry Carey earlier, and
now here's what Brad Nix's response to
Harry Carey by name of Harry Christopher Carabina, born March 1st. Look at him throwing it out. Why did he? I guess he moved to California just to finish.
I wonder if this is straight from the Wikipedia page.
It might be, but that makes
no. I don't mean that as an insult, but like it's kind of formatted in that way.
Well, I mean, you got to get the information somewhere, so it
absolutely.
Matter, really. Will I be at FanFest? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll let you know. I'd like to broadcast from there, but we'll see. And Donald said Harry was his real birth name. Yeah, but not Carey. That's right. Brad took care of us on there. Harry Christopher Carabina. Harry Carey is just, I'm sure he took that from the phrase Harry Carey. John, if you look that up, have you looked that up yet to see what it was?
I have not. But what do you think it's from?
Use the term. It's just a term. It's to do something. Just Google to commit Harry Carey. You'll find out.
Commit. Oh, that's right. We were talking about seppuku. That's right, earlier.
Pete says Carlisle was to fix defense, and that hasn't happened. Interesting to hear Chris' thoughts tomorrow. Bench is kind of killing them too. Need Levert and Warren, and they'll be good. Yeah, because they're not bad now. They can't stop anybody. I mean, it's like the Kevin Wilson football era. Score 48 points and lose 50-48.
Here, to go ahead and put this to bed, it's harakiri, most often refers to a form of seppuku or ritual suicide, often miswritten as Harry Carey. So there you go.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Problem solved. There you go.
So we were both on the same page there. Just didn't know the different terms.
Yeah, I've never heard that term, man. Sudoku. I thought you were talking
Seppuku.
about Sudoku, man. What?
Sudoku and
playing
seppuku.
cards? That even sounds like a card game or someone who has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Just don't tell anybody if you're ever in a public place that you're going to do seppuku, because if they understand what you're talking about, they may call the police.
Thank you, Brad. We appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you listening. I like seeing new comments. I love that. Ryan, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about, Derrick Jackson, on that, so you'll have to fill us in. Want to make sure I didn't miss any comments. But it's early, though, so they'll get that going. I think the secret scrimmage is on. So Monday, we're probably going to be talking about that with, Don Fisher won't be there.
Based solely on a box score.
Yep, solely on the information we get.
Can say.
But you can glean a lot. All we had, because I didn't get to go to the Bahamas, I sent someone, was the box scores to go on, and you glean a lot. And from that performance, I've talked about it, man, they're they seem ahead of the game right now defensively, because if you're playing defense, you're doing well. Offense can be added, and the offense that Mike Woodson has added doesn't take a lot of study. It just takes a lot of repetition. Motion type offense. A motion type offense does not have 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you do. What it has is 1, 2, 3, 4 options you can take. It's totally up to the offensive player. And that's what I think people don't understand about the motion offense. It's not this guy moves here and this guy moves here and sets a pick and it frees that guy. Well, not that there aren't screens, but it is a weave, but the player, makes the decision on direction to go. It's like a running back, just like a running back. You got to find the right seam. And that's what the motion offense is about. And that's where the decision-making comes in. I love talking to Todd and Todd Leary and Charlie Miller and all those guys about that, because at first when I learned about it, it mesmerized me how it's not simple, but it is yet simple once you run it, once you understand how to run it, because it's not hard. It's just about decision-making. It's simply about decision-making. What's that about the secret scrimmage? Yeah, I'm still going with it that it's on right now. So, did anyone watch the Drunk King show last night? I have no idea.
Dunk King, not Drunk
Dunk
King.
What is the Dunk King, man? What is that?
I wish I knew, because it sounds interesting, like it would come with a good story. But
sounds
King.
like
Okay,
somebody.
the new TV.
Sounds like somebody. Go ahead.
Oh, never mind. I thought I saw what it was, but I didn't.
That sounds like somebody out in the park dunking.
We got 2 minutes, by the way.
Dunkin' Donuts. Let's see. Tomorrow, Dustin Schutte. Cannot wait. We got a lot of Big Ten football to talk about coming up this week. A lot of big-time matchups. Very important. Matt Taylor with the Colts. Okay, can they keep that momentum rolling? They need to. Gosh, that's a man. They're closer than Indiana to having a better season. So Chris Denari, of course, of the Pacers, will be checking in tonight, see what they get done. Hopefully they win.
And then, Kyle Neddenrip.
Oh, and Kyle Neddenrip. Holy cow, I got to write all that down because Kyle couldn't join us today. But a lot coming up on Friday. Got a surprise or two for you. Big day. Looking forward to it. I hope you guys are having a great day and have a great rest of your week. As I plan to do, go out and get some sunshine and do something nice for somebody. But a big thanks to all of our guests today, as I can't thank them enough. Big thanks to all of our sponsors. And that's another thing. Make sure you support those who support us, whether it's Cheryl Sizemore with Remax Realty, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com, AndyMooreHonda.com of Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. You've got AAA Insurance in Southwest Indiana if you're in the Evansville or Southern Illinois area, 812-477-9966. And let's see, did I miss anyone? I want to make sure that Southern Stone Restaurant, of course, located at the corner of Patterson and Rogers. Excellent place to eat and just hang out. A beautiful environment. Also, the Indiana basketball and football coaches shows are held there each Monday and Wednesday. I'm Jim Coyle. I hope you guys had a great day. Thanks to John, the producer. Most importantly, thanks to you, as we have had a fun-filled day as always. And go out and get yourself some sunshine. Anybody going to the game? Not going to the game this weekend. It's up on the way. But I hope you all have go out and see a high school game this weekend. The playoffs start. So go out and support them since Indiana's on the road. I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to find one to go watch. But man, I appreciate you guys so much. Hope you go out and have a spectacular day. For John, the producer, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.